Okay, we're getting into another pile here, and we're going to start it off with some Joe Madureira goodness. Joe Madureira was, he was the dude in charge of the X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men. He was the principal penciler, and you gotta love his art. He just has, he had just the best covers. I mean, I tried to get as many of his books as possible. The Age of Apocalypse was like, I got basically that entire run. I recently sold a lot of the X Factor and other titles in the series, but I kept some of the number ones for the X-Men books. In fact, I believe this is a entire run of that X-Men, the Astonishing X-Men. This is the Uncanny X-Men, and they changed for this Age of Apocalypse. It's essentially a different timeline. It's where Apocalypse, destroys the world, and the mutants are left in this dystopian future to fight it. And I believe Bishop is the one that goes through time to trigger an event that will restore the previous timeline. So it's much like Days of Future Past, where somebody time travels into an alternate future, though. Changes events of the future to trigger something that will restore the past. I forget. I'll have to go back and read what the story was. It's been so long. But it was a very good story. In fact, there are several people working on the story, and Larry Hama is one of the people working on the Amazing X-Men story. I also think he did some of the Wolverine stuff as well. So the Weapon X, he was writing Weapon X and Amazing X-Men. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if I'm mistaken, I'll have to go and look. But if I'm mistaken, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, the Madureira cover. So this is a great Sabretooth. Look at that Sabretooth cover. Oh man, again, Madureira. Here's another Madureira cover. I mean, he just had the best comic art. This dude. The thing is, I think he left Marvel to start his own company, and he made a video game. The video game was called, I'm drawing a blank, but even that video game was so cool. The art in that video game was just badass, and it was I played that game. It was a pretty fun game to play, but I don't think it was that popular. That's why it's hard to really create your own character. Sometimes you do need, there needs to be story, a good story, something compelling. And I just think that video game just didn't have enough of the elements to where it would take up. But the art was absolutely just awesome. I mean, that's how I just described it. His art, just awesome. So anyway, this is a great cover. So Magneto's the leader of this alternate universe. He's a good guy, and I love Madureira's take on these future characters. Look at that Sunfire. That Sunfire's so badass. Storm with the cropped hair. Anyway, it's great. The art in this is great. I may have to go back and read some of the back issues. Okay, so let's give this a grade here. I did read these copies, so I'm not anticipating a high grade, but this looks clean so far. That looks like to be, I think, be good press. No, that's the bag, so. Yeah, that's the bag. I'm not seeing a lot that's problematic. I'm not seeing much. This could get a 9.8 easily. We may have to submit this book. Yeah, that would look nice in a slab. So, Astonishing X-Men #1. I really hope Madureira gets his due. I know there are a lot of really talented artists now, and I wouldn't say Madureira is the best to have drawn X-Men. The artist that preceded him, obviously, but he's got to be up there, and I hope people do recognize that his covers and the art in his run are pretty fantastic. So I'm not going to grade the other ones in that series. I'm sure they're good grades as well. And I'm not going to, these are not worth very much. So until they go up in value, I wouldn't want to get these graded, but I just want to see what we're working with here. This looks to be a very clean copy too. There's a little bit of a crinkle there, but not color breaking. That's definitely negligible with the press. Oh, and good news, by the way, I got some good news. My comics have been cleaned and pressed by CCS, so it looks like they've moved on to the grading phase, and to be honest, that cleaning, that is very surprising because they gave a lead time of 189 days for cleaning and pressing, and it was received my shipment was received on October 6th, I believe, 6th or 7th, and it's still October, so we're looking at 2-week turnaround time for the cleaning and pressing. So I don't know, I think my shipment got on some kind of expedited track, because that's my Batman also was at CGC for a day before they turned the grade around and shipped it back. So all these complaints, this is my first shipment, all the complaints about them taking too long, it looks like they have resolved, or maybe they've just put some of the shipments on an expedite track, and it's just random, and I was fortunate enough to get on that expedite track. But whatever the reason, I am very happy if I can get my comics back before the year's out. That would be fantastic. So yeah, this looks like a 9.8 candidate, and it's a badass Wolverine samurai cover with the angel. There's Archangel as well. So I'm gonna put it as a possible submission, because this could be worth something down the line. So this is number 330, Uncanny X-Men 330. And it's a really clean looking copy, so definitely 9.8 potential. Here is another one, but this one will not be a 9.8 because of that. Also because of that. But it's Sabretooth and Gambit. Again, a very cool cover. All of Madureira's stuff is just, look at that expression on Sabretooth. Yeah. All his covers are just fantastic, and would look great in slabs. Here is an Adam Cooper cover of Weapon X. I believe I have number 1 as well. Yeah, there it is. So this is something I posted on Facebook a while back. This is the Larry Hama storyline as well. Really just look at that. Jean Grey, Wolverine. They are, you know, lovers in this alternate timeline, and Wolverine just looks so badass. Look at that. He's missing a hand, but he's still got his steel claws, and he still looks like you wouldn't want to mess with him, hand or no hand. Yeah, so great Adam Cooper cover. And I think this is a very clean copy. I have 2 copies here of the number 1, and I think one is here, one's maybe under there, but I'm just gonna grade this one here real quick and see if it's submission worthy, because this is, I think, something. I think this whole age of I'm regretting now that I sold the Age of Apocalypse titles, like some of the minor titles in this run, because that looks to be the bag, not the comic. So okay, this looks very clean. This would be a 9.8. Even without a press, I don't think this would even need a press. It'd be 9.8. The reason being is, like, this storyline is just, it's so action-packed. It's also story-driven. It's not just action, but it's like a really good story, and the art would just, like, I mean, the art itself would make for great cinematic panels. So just look at that. Like, you don't need to create a costume. You just basically copy that as is, and you'd have, like, iconic looks for the film. So that cover is just so great. Anyway, so this is Weapon X number 1. Is definitely a submission book. I know it's not worth a lot, but again, if it gets a 9.8 grade, money. All right, so I'm gonna submit that one. There are other. I think I have this entire run for the Weapon X, so I'm gonna keep that. Hopefully that goes up in value. This is so I was fortunate enough to go to the World Cup. This is not the opening ceremony of the 2002 World Cup. What it is it's the ceremony prior to the opening ceremony. So it's sort of like an audition, I guess, and it was a ticket I got to attend. So and this is like South Korea's best performance ever in the World Cup. So this is a ticket. If you're a South Korean soccer fan, this is a ticket, very rare ticket that I'm sure collectors would want. So I could sell that in the future. This is also another Madureira cover. Pretty subdued cover, but again, the art is very nice. Magneto there on his knees with a nun standing over him. Not much going on, subdued, but pretty cool. I believe this is also going to be a high grade. But again, I wouldn't submit this, but it looks pretty clean. Yeah. Again, looking through the bag, I'm not seeing it, but it looks, just on first glance, it looks very clean. What's on the other side here? Yeah, so this is Legion Quest. So Legion is pretty much the guy who initiates this break in the time continuum and creates these alternate timelines. And it's because Legion Quest kills Professor X that leads to this. So this is where Professor X dies. So that is a pretty cool cover. And this is something, again, if it's high grade, I would consider submitting, just because Magneto, Professor X, in such a, that's pretty much sums up their relationship right there. Here we go. So what are we looking at here? Anything that would prevent me from sending this into CGC? I gotta say though, like when they mention overall impression, and I don't get, I think maybe because there's these little marks right there, the corners, that corner, it's not like the cleanest corner, that corner also not the cleanest. There are no real spine ticks, but they're just these little like specks. And I don't know, I think if you have too many of those, that could drop. Let me know what you think. This, I think, could pass as a 9.8, but just something tells me that it's not. There's just like this, I don't know what it is, there's this nagging sort of impression that it's not. So, yeah, I don't think I would submit it. There seems to be a book under there. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not going to pull it out. It's another X-Men book, though. Maybe. And these X-Men titles aren't worth a lot, so I think this is maybe a $5 comic. Another Adam Cooper cover, another pretty cool cover. Gen X member there. So let's take a look here. See, like a spine tick right there. That's the only one. That seems to be the only one. Oops, sorry. That looks clean. Looks to be okay as well. No blunted corners there. Yeah, I think this is pretty good grade. I say 9.8 potential there. So let's put it in the submission. X-Men 36. Phoenix Covenant. This one is another Adam Cooper cover. Another great cover with Sabretooth and Gambit. I didn't realize they were like rivals per se, but they're appearing on a lot of. That doesn't look. Is that the bag? Oh, that's the bag. That's why. It's just a weird spot to have like a white line. This one's looking pretty clean too. Yeah, this would probably garner 9.8 consideration. So, X-Men 33. Also, 9.8 potential. You can tell I took care of my X titles. This is X-Men number 30. There's a pressable defect right there. Nothing color breaking. So So this one definitely needs a press. That corner's janky. That's not a good corner. That will not get a 9.8. So this will not be submitted. Yeah, Scott and Jean get married in this issue. Let me know what you think about these like marriage issues. I know I definitely want the Spider-Man annual with the marriage of Mary Jane and Peter Parker. Even though, like, you know, you gotta love Gwen Stacy. I think Mary Jane is, I think, the fan favorite, but you gotta remember Gwen Stacy. She was also pretty cool character from the earlier titles. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I think Gwen Stacy now is, or a clone of her is, Spider Girl. I haven't read the comic, but anyway, fill me in on the details. I think it's cool that we have a Spider Girl, and that she's Gwen Stacy, or maybe the clone or daughter of Gwen Stacy. Who knows? But that seems pretty cool. Great cover. Just it's one of those wedding covers, and so this looks like it could get a 9.8. I'm gonna put it down also for potential grading. So we're way past 25 books now. So let's see, we're at 16, right? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh, we're right at 25. So we're right at the 25 comic mark. So I'm going to create a new page and continue on. Okay, so here we go. This is not a good comic. Spine ticks. This is also just I don't like that cover. I don't like this artist. He was not a good artist. Okay. X-Men Prime. These covers are pretty clean, so they're pretty clean. The only issue would be like a bent. If you bent this cover, it would really, I don't know if it's pressable. It's like a hard, you know, it's kind of like a foil type cover. So but it looks clean. I think if I were to get it graded, it definitely grade in the 9s. So these are books that's a $5 book. This is a $10 book. I would probably grade this one over the Prime. And I have 3 copies of X-Men Omega. This is who's the artist on this? John Romita Jr.? Yeah, I'm gonna have to check. But that's a pretty dope cover. Apocalypse and Magneto. That would be an epic battle. It's an epic battle, so okay. Nothing special about those covers. Alright, I'm gonna move on to the next pile.